before you get started with the bending, just make sure that your sides are worked to the proper thickness that you want, about 1/8 of an inch or 3 millimeters. Now we're going to start with our bending jig. You can use a commercially made one. This is just a homemade one that I have. You're going to need some water with some shop rags, a propane torch, a striker, or something to light the torch with. And then I'm going to use just some string with a little loop here tied in the end. And I've got a screw put in the side as an anchor for the string to wrap around with. As we put the sides in, we'll sort of wrap it in place and hold it into the mold. And put a screw in as well for the cutaway piece and the other side. Now I've taken my sides and soaked them in water overnight, and now I'm marking which side is the bottom, which is the top, and which face is the front. With the grain and this being a book match set, you want the bottoms to be aligned. And I'm just going to start bending, and I actually started here from the bottom. A lot of people like to start with the center bend with the waist because it's the sharpest bend, but with this particular guitar it's a little hard when you're doing this by hand to align the two curves properly. So I like to start at the bottom and keep it all aligned from the center line. But here I'm just moving the board back and forth and getting it all warmed up. You can see how it starts to get sort of elastic and flexible as it gets hot. And here I'm aiming at just getting that that bottom bend in place. And now the caution here is that you don't want to bend it too far in any one spot. You'll start to see and hear the wood splinter if you start to overdo it. You'll also notice here that the wood still looks kind of wet. If you're going a little too far with it, you'll start to see it really get dry. Now you can see how the bottom is getting flexible, and I'm just going to periodically test it in the mold to make sure that I'm getting the correct shape. And now you may want to, if it starts to get a little dry on you, just apply a little more water to it. And I'm just going to continue bending here. And now it's a good idea to have your sides a little bit thicker than what you actually need, because I'm going to trim these to the correct size once they're bent. And now moving up into that center waist bend. Now this bend's a little trickier because it is a sharper curve. You just take your time and get the wood nice and hot. And then you move on to that upper curve where it goes into the neck. And now I'm just going to sort of work back and forth and get the entire piece of wood to where the curves will fit in, and it will go into the mold correctly. And now you can see the side in the mold, how we've wrapped it with the string. Where those sharper curves are, you'll notice there's a lot more binding there. And then let this dry overnight. Now on the second side where we're going to have the cutaway, place your template for that side in place and align it with the very bottom edge. That's where the center line is going to be. And then you can mark where that side is going to end and the cutaway starts. And we're going to cut that side right there. And now you'll go ahead and bend the side like you did the first one. And then once we have it in place and it's dried, we'll cut it, re-soak it in water, and then bend it over the cutaway mold to form that shape.